Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown between two top tier players. On the left hand side we have Danny DeVito, also known as Flying Taco, up against Caradoc of Clan VM. It'll be the old school grudge match between High Elves and Lizardmen. Both want to be the saviours of the world, but we know there can only be one true hero. Now this was a little bit of an older replay. It was from when we were doing our Nakai challenge, so yes, we do indeed have the mighty man, the myth, the legend in battle again today. So in the front of the Lizardman formation, we have some chameleon skinks, so they're going to be sandwiching a unit of the skink skirmishers in the middle, who are just their cheaper cousins, who, slightly less durability on these guys, but still can do some really nice harass and get the job done. It's a very wide formation. We have the cohort of Sotek on the far side, then a mixture of skinks, Star Chamber Guardians, Saurus Warriors dotted all the way along. A nice mixture of all of the infantry on display today, as well as some feral cold ones in the back line. Now, I've been pretty critical of these guys in the past, but I do really like the idea of using them in the front line, where they can help support units like red-crested skinks, use their mass to pin in cavalry, and allow the skinks to really dish out the damage. So I do like this a little attempted tactic here by Flying Taco. We have a Bastildon with a Rev Crystal as well, looking to heal up those Temple Guard, as well as Nakai, who's currently grinding up aside the Bastildon here. And Nakai isn't, too terrible when it comes to his abilities, although they are slightly overpriced. But Primal Roar is an ability I absolutely love. Plus 40 melee attack and 22% physical resistance. You stack that on a large dinosaur onto Temple Guard, they will shred absolutely everything. Of course, it does have the downsides of causing rampage if you've taken damage and only lasting 17 seconds. It's also, of course, coming with the golden tributes, that perfect vigor, very useful indeed. And up against them in the form of the High Elves, high in the skies with Halariel the Radiant, and she's coming in with Tempest, Earthblood, as well as her Star, so basically going to be used for healing and trying to take out Pterodons, who are peskily going to be hopping on top of the Eagle Claw Bolt Throws, of which we have two. Some Phoenix Guard are going to be on babysitter duty protecting them. And in the back lines we have Dragon Princes galore. Triple Dragon Princes, in fact. Very good in this matchup. They've got really good armor stats of 110, so they can shrug off a lot of the blow darts and javelins that skinks can supply onto them. And they can certainly do some good damage up against some of the larger creatures and Lizardmen cavalry. Frontline is going to have to be pretty cheap and cheerful. We have Silver and Guard in the centre formation. These guys are going to be able to hold the line for a considerably long time, but with cheaper spearmen on the flanks, obviously the money has going to be poured into these bolt throwers and Dragon Princes. So without further ado, let's get this battle underway. The skinks will certainly be rubbing their hands at the possibility of just sniping out Alariel the Radiant here if she dawdles too long. And in come the bolt throwers. They are currently aiming at the skink skirmishers, probably because they're out of range of the bigger dinos, and I certainly expect the Bastildon with Rev Crystal to be the main focus of attention to start with. Looks like that spread shot is now coming in. Good micro there by the High Elf player, realising that I may as well switch up to the more anti-infantry shots while the big dinosaurs are out of range, and it's going to be pounding down those skink skirmishers before once again switching back to single shot and going after more key targets like these feral cold ones and the other larger creatures. Looks like something did go down there in Nakai. I think he's just getting pumped up for the fight, and a few darts are being Kobe'd over towards Alariel the Radiant as well, who's darting back and forth, trying to dodge and swerve underneath them. But this is a lot of darts coming up, and some of them are certainly going to connect, and you can see Alariel has started to take a little bit of damage, but plenty of healing in the tank for her. On the far side, Dragon Princes are going to be charging in to the cohort of Sotek, looking to get some shock damage, and maybe we can see the idea of the feral cold ones here. It looks like, oh, that is a lance in charge. The poor cohort of Sotek do have harmonic convergence popped on them and refuse to die, and the Dragon Princes take a pounding in retaliation. Not the worst result in the end there for the cohort of Sotek. Down to half health though, with nothing to pin in the Dragon Princes. The feral columns were slightly tiny bit too late there. They do manage to escape, but not before taking some pretty brutal damage. On the left-hand side, it looks like more Dragon Princes are going to be trying to do the same situation on these skink cohorts, desperately trying to avoid the combination of red-crested skinks and feral cold ones, although the skinks are going to be pulling back to their brothers. Beautiful micro coming in by the Lizardman player, and now the Dragon Princes have to deal with these cold ones nipping out the hills, while the red-crested skinks get in there with their mighty great axes and start doing some really lovely AP. Certainly a good trade there for the Lizardmen. They took more damage, of course, but on far cheaper units throughout, and it looks like the main battle line is soon to engage, although the Bastildon has taken massive damage on the approach. Skink cohorts dive headfirst onto these Dragon Princes, who do have an Earthblood currently healing them up. Cohort of Sotek are going to be here to support, and in come the Star Chamber Guardians and Saurus Warriors, who do get rammed though by a lance and charge from the Dragon Princes, who very quickly disengage. Beautiful play there by the High Elves. Nakai is still going strong for now. Looks like Bastildon is trying to heal up his Star Chamber Guardians, which is a really good idea. Rev Crystal can actually bring models back from the dead, but it's a little bit more tricky than Invocation Heck to pull that off. Feral Cold Ones do fall back at the moment. Looks like they were engaged with the Dragon Princes, who are suffering under the might of the red-crested skinks at this moment. And Cold Ones are now going to be popping it into the rear of those Dragon Princes, trying to pin them in place, slowly dragging down those units. Although more Dragon Princes do start to bound out over to this flank, and the Skink Skirmishers and Chameleon Skinks continue to pour in fire. Sneaky little Skinks have managed to flank around this side, looking to put pressure on the Eclaw Bolt Thrower and start to shut it down in the centre. Those Phoenix Guard looking particularly happy. Looks like a big star of Avalon is going down on the Dragon Princes, trying to keep them in the fight. But looks like they are struggling badly there up against the might of the Red Crested. Over on this far side, Nakai the Wanderer is beating the absolute crap out of the Silvern Guard. Look at him go. Up to 10 kills. Running over pointy-eared elves and dancing into battle once more. Starting to apply some pressure now to those Eclaw Bolt Throwers who are continuing to harass the Lizardmen lines. Temple Guard doing a good job as always. More Skinks do float back into battle as Feral Cold Ones are being used in a cycle charging kind of usage here, which is always good to see. Skinks getting in here should be able to surround these Spearmen and Silvern Guard, allow the Star Chamber Guardians to really overwhelm them as a wind blast there goes down on the Phoenix Guard. The far side, though, has been dominated by the High Elves at the moment. The Dragon Princes come in, breaking off the Red Crested Skinks, breaking off the Skink Cohort, as well as the Feral Cold Ones, rescuing this Eclaw Bolt for allowing it to continue to fire, and it should probably just aim at Nakai. Nakai or the Star Chamber Guardians and start whittling down those units. Harmonic Convergence has been popped as well as the Primal Roar. 124 melee attack is currently on Nakai, surrounded by the dead and dying Dragon Princes. Unfortunately for him, though, he's not the most mobile of lads. Certainly not too slow, but he's not able to catch those cavalry, who rather wisely decide now is a good time to retreat and fall back. Phoenix Guard, a really strong linebacker right now for the High Elves, just defending the back line, butchering Saurus, where the Star Chamber Guardians have started to approach, and triple gold chevron Temple Guard are certainly no joke. Plus, of course, coming in with the magical attacks and the Guardian to Nakai means he's going to be able to bounce in here and do some pretty good work while supplying them with perfect vigor as well. Chameleon Skinks as well as the Skink Skirmishers continuing to fight in. Looks like the Dragon Princes have finally had enough of this, though. I'm going to be trying to lance them down, which is a good idea to get them off the field. A big fat wind blast comes down. Looks like those Overcast just butchering Silvern Guard, Phoenix Guard, sending them to the ground, allowing the Star Chamber Guardians to stomp on them, rip them apart with Claw and Halberd. Over on the far side, the Co of Sotek have been surrounded now. They did do a good job, though, putting pressure on the Eclaw Bolt Thrower and getting it down to just a few models, so they won't be able to use it artillery pieces so effectively. Spearman and Alara the Radiant, though, desperately trying to save the situation. Dragon Princes in the distance, running over Red Crested Skinks, which don't hate whatsoever, helps push the balance power more and more in their favour, and at the same time buys more time for them to be healed up by Alariel. So we do still have the Skinks being a big pain to the Dragon Princes in the back burner, on the back lines at least, but apart from that, there is not too much Lizardmen left fighting at the moment. We have some Skink Cohorts who can come back. It is really just the last stand of the mighty Nakai the Wanderer and the Star Chamber Guardians, who are surrounded by Phoenix Guard, Silver Guard, Spearmen. Looks like Alariel is even going to get in on the action, but the Temple Guard cleaving a bloody path for Nakai to walk through. These guys are certainly no joke. They're covered in the blood of the Warmbloods, doing a pretty good job themselves. And Nakai is dueling Alariel, and Nakai may be a little bit of a meme to most, but you certainly can't take him for granted and start charging at him with mage casters and expect them to come out on top, because Nakai will simply turn around and beat the absolute snot out of Alariel. And as you can see, that is just what happened. Down to half health, although again, plenty of room for healing. Primal Roar has gone down. The Star Chamber Guardians now rocking in a very impressive 79 melee attack, plus getting that 22% physical resistance. They are just going to turn into an absolute chainsaw unit, carving their way through. There is dead and dying elves all over the battlefield now, but particularly wherever the Star Chamber Guardians do roam. Nakai finds himself a little bit isolated, is once again going to swing happily back into combat, up to 72 kills. Certainly not done anything too disastrous, which is good, because normally Nakai tends to get kind of isolated and slaughtered, but Flying Taco done a good job of protecting him. The Skink Priest as well, just being alive in this little pocket, really is going to help out quite a lot in the late game. He can supply Cold-Blooded as well as those Harmonic Convergences to help buff up his troops, and looks like that's just what he's going to do. Star Chamber Guardians are buffed up to 63 melee attack. If Primal Roar pops now as well, I think it would be game over. Balance power is currently in favour of the High Elves, and there is still a few Dragon Princes left dotted around the battlefield, and that could be really telling in the late game. I think their time would be better used now, cycle charging in whilst the Spearmen are still here, but it's going to be really hard, I think, for the Star Chamber Guardians to hold the line in the end game. Nakai, though, he's certainly not out of this yet, and he's just having a whale of a time. I love the fact we've seen so many Nakai replays recently, and really kind of happy that the challenge brought the best out of Nakai, and people using him to great success and figuring out how to make him at least semi-competitive. And it looks like he will be able to break off the Sylvan Guard here. Both units are going to be faltering, the Spearman and the Sylvan Guard, and Alarielle does charge into the deep one more time, trying to get a cheeky little bit of cycle charging. Really nice play by the High Elf player to ensure that she gets some damage before fleeing, but I'm not sure if these cycle charges are really paying off too much, with Nakai just been an absolute beast in here. 3 units of Dragon Princes do remain though. They should be able to get together, pop a star on them, pop some Earthbloods, keep them nice and topped up, but they need to be careful. They really do want the Spear and Sylvan Guard support. If the battle is lost by the time these guys get here, Star Chamber Guardians and Nakai are obviously perfectly positioned to deal with such units. Although they are pretty beat up at this point, down to just 43 models, although 221 kills up against High Elves is crazy stuff. But if there is no Spearman, Sylvan Guard and the like to help protect the Dragon Princes from the Temple Guard Wrath, I think it could be a bit of a problem. It looks like the High Elves are going to be falling back now. Both the Spearman and Sylvan Guard are going to be retreating. It looks like the attack and roll is being carried out. Those Dragon Princes shall be running over these skink skirmishes in the distance with the help of Alarielle. Once more buying time for these Dragon Princes to get a glorious little heal off, and some more of the units to return to the fray. Looks like some Saurus Warriors are actually the first ones to come back. Seeing the heroics of Nakai and the Star Chamber Guardians has inspired them to greater feats of heroism here to return back. Skink Priest is scuttling, he's bounding. He reminds me of those little lizards who can run across water with the way he runs, and he is chasing down the Sylvan Guard, who are just drenched from head to toe in ketchup, it would seem. Gets in here and smacks one of them in the back before retreating back to Papa Nakai for a little bit of protection, and I certainly do not blame the over-eager Skink Priest there, as the Lizardmen are kind of at the mercy now of the High Elves, and it looks like a Star of Avalon is going down, catching catching only 2 units of the Dragon Princes. In fact, only 1 unit. These two, for some reason, it says not getting the heal. Now they are getting the heal. That's a little bit weird. That seems like their health is not going up on that unit. So 2 of the units were getting a heal there. Alario as well, likewise, getting some topped up. Oh, it may be a maximum of 3 units, actually, perhaps, is why the heal comes in there. The Skink Priest has managed to drive off the Sylvan Guard with the help of the Temple Guard, but I'm sure when he goes home to the spawning pools, he will be telling a different story of how he single-handedly drove back the resurging High Elves, although the Dragon Princes now do come for a lance and charge in. Some of the Star Chamber Guardians get sent absolutely flying, but the others hold the line. Primal Roar is active, their melee attack being buffed, and they will reap a devastating blow upon the Dragon Princes if they stay in combat too long like this. Nakai the Wanderer as well, an absolute beast in the center, punching a horse to death. He is the rock in the Total War Warhammer community and lore as well. Poor little Skink Priest is done for at the moment. It looks like the Source Warriors weren't able to rally to the Star Chamber Guardians either, but the Star Chambers hold the line despite being down to 1,200 health. Nakai as well roars victorious as double Dragon Princes flee for their lives in terror of the apex predator of Lustria, and the second unit as well, or the third unit, probably shouldn't be too far behind them. Star Chamber Guardians doing a massive toll. Dead Dragon Princes flock all around, although some more of the Princes do come to their centres and charge into the deep one more time. Some of them, though, being dehorsed by Nakai, who's still very healthy at the moment. 3,900 health is going to be such a nightmare to take down, particularly with that Guardian buff that has been supplied to him by the Star Chambers. It looks like the Spearmen have broken. More Dragon Princes do rally. Only 3 of them desperately come in an attempt to save their lady, the Lady Alarielle here. But as soon as they charge in, their horses want absolutely none of it. You can only charge in so many times before your horses go, you know what, I didn't really enjoy that, and we're going to flee for the battlefield. 2 Dragon Princes shaming their ancestors there. Star Chamber Guardians down to 6 models and still holding. 6 models on a unit and holding. That is madness. So many of them dead, but still going strong here. Arguably some of the best bodyguards in the entire game. Cold-blooded going to be popped on them as well. Nakai returning the favour, rewarding them for their courageous behaviour and inspiring them once more to drag down the mighty queen herself. 674 health. Nakai having absolutely none of her rubbish, and with a glorious aiming shot there of Alarielle and Nakai facing off. It shall be a Pyrrhic victory to the forces of the Lizardmen and the might of Danny DeVito, also known as Flying Taco. Very well played to these 2 champs. I love to see the Spirit of the Jungle played, and very well played to Caradoc as well. Really close game with some beautiful cycle charging early on. I think he got himself in a really good position. And the Dragon Princes chasing down the Chameleons and Skink Skirmishers maybe would have been his one mistake. Which actually at the time, I also was like, yeah, chase down those guys, get them off the battlefield, gives you more time to heal up. But by the time his Princes managed to come back to the main fray, the Spearmen and Silver Guard were just done for on their last legs. And then all of a sudden you have no support to help take down Nakai and the Star Chamber Guardians. Very well played to these two absolute champions. Hopefully we'll see them again on the channel soon. Always like to get replays from these top competitors. I will go through the damage value and damage dealt stats in just a second. Very excited to see how well the Star Chamber Guardians did as well as Nakai. But before that, if you guys did enjoy, feel free to leave a big old thumbs up on the video. It really helps push it out to more people, as well as commenting down below. What was your favourite moment in the battle? Mine was certainly just the Star Chamber Guardians as a whole. Who are your MVPs? Because they were mine 100%. 270 kills, protecting Nakai and carving a bloody path through the High Elf forces. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, why not? Feel free to. We drop videos every single day, as well as a couple of live streams. We are going to be live streaming some tournament action today as well, from my point of view of us playing in the tournament. That is going to be at 5:35 PM BST. So after this goes up, probably about an hour or so, but if you see this early on, you'll be able to see that the stream will be up and ready to go. Also, links in the description to my Patreon, where you can support the channel, as well as get access to some special events that will be coming up shortly, and special roles on my Discord, as well as a link to my Discord where you can submit replays, get involved with a load of cool people. We have over 500 members now. There's sections for memes, there's sections where you can discuss battle tactics, how to improve your game, where to find players to play multiplayer with. You can also submit replays to me, get involved in the tournament scene, and all that good stuff. But enough of that YouTube maintenance stuff. On to the glorious Nakai. 146 kills, 2,859 damage value, 11k damage dealt. What an awesome display by him, holding the line just so long, beating back all those elite cavalry and allowing the Star Chamber Guardians to do their work. I really think Primal Roar is a very powerful ability. The Rampage is slightly annoying, but again, it has been fixed so it won't instantly rampage them if they have full health, for example. So I think popping it very early on in some of the initial engagements can be very powerful indeed. Skink Priest of Heaven, 716 damage value, some really well-timed wind blasts, helped get rid of those pesky Phoenix Guard, but the harmonic convergences were even better as well. 1.9k damage value on the cohort of Sotek, very impressive work by them. The Red Crested Skinks, the basic ones, did struggle, however. Likewise, the Saurus Warriors performed okay, but nothing too crazy. Star Chamber Guardians, definitely my MVPs, 3,698 damage value, nearly 20k damage dealt, 270 kills, plus supplying Guardian to Nakai. Is there a better bodyguard unit in the game? I'm struggling to think of one off the top of my head. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I suppose there's only one way to find out. I will flock through the other ones in a little while. I do like the attempted play here on the Feral Cold ones. You can see they got some okay, well, pretty terrible value to be honest actually, across the board. But they do help support the Red Crested Skinks and allow them to get more value, like we've seen with the cohort of Sotek. Didn't work perfectly in this game, but I do like the idea. And that's one thing I really like to see from players, bringing new ideas to the battle and how that you can utilize some of these weaker units and make them actually pretty decent. The Basildon as well, unfortunately, only 114 damage value, got assassinated really early on. Now imagine if those Star Chamber Guardians were being healed throughout, but that was some good target priority all round there, I think, by the High Elf player. Chameleons as well, and the Skink Skirmishers, not too shabby. As for Karadok, the Mighty Alariel the Radiant, only 778 damage value. Really not bad, but nothing too insane. But again, she's really here for the healing. And the triple Dragon Princes, huge kills across the board for all of them. All into the mid 100s and actually up a little bit as well. 162, 148, 192. 1,600 damage value here, 1,500, 1,500 again. Really good display by the Dragon Princes. They seem to be a bit of a Marmite unit. Some people say they're terrible, some people say they're really good. I'm on the firm belief that they're a pretty solid unit all round. Equal bolt throws as well. Performed relatively okay early on, but due to some good flank pressure by the sneaky Skinks and quite a wide Lizardmen build throughout, they were unfortunately neutered and shut down. Spearmen and the Silver Guard really struggling in that central pocket. They help out the enemy for a decent time, particularly this unit getting 780 damage value, but alas, it was not enough. They were the anvils, but their hammers had abandoned them to go chase down little skinkies. Phoenix Guard as well, 1,000 damage value, certainly not too shabby, but did suffer by meeting the big boy, the apex predator, Nakai the Wanderer. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.